everybody, how's it going? This is Darrin with GuitarControl.com bringing you this video lesson. And today I want to show you how you can take a really common chord progression and you can really kind of jazzify it a little bit. So be sure to click on the link in the description for the tabs so you can follow along with this. And let's get close up and take a look at what we got going on here. So in a lesson that I did the other day on the 1-4-5 chord progression, and we went over about how you determine, you know, what the chords are based off of the degrees of the scale. And I did another lesson where actually we went over all of that with where those what chords are based off of the degrees of the scale. So we're going to be using that. So if you want to see that video so you can kind of have a better understanding, then I'll just, you know, put the link for that right here. Alright, so we're doing this in the key of G major. And so the chords in the key of G major, we have G major, A minor, B minor, C major, D major, E minor, F sharp diminished, and then back to G major. So what we're going to do is we're going to do what is a 1-6-2-5 chord progression. Meaning that the first chord will be based off of the first note of the scale, which is G, and then the next chord will be based off the sixth chord, which is E, and the next chord will be the second chord, which is A, and then the fourth would be based off of the D. So if we were just going to do this just with regular three-note chords, like major and minor chords, we would have G major, E minor, A minor, and D major. So you may already recognize that if you just it's a really common chord progression that's like really reminiscent of like the 50s rock and stuff, popular music from that time. But you can also, instead of just doing three-note chords, you can do, you know, four-note chords. So, you know, you have a G major 7 is your first chord. So what we're going to do here is we're actually going to do a couple of ninth chords. So a ninth chord is a seventh chord, but it also has the ninth degree of the scale added onto the top of it. So these, you know, major seventh and minor seventh, dominant seventh, ninth chords, and up from there are all really common ones in jazz. So if we take this chord progression and we do our first chord, we do G major 7. So what I'm doing there is I'm fretting the third fret of the low E with my first finger, and I'm just letting that finger kind of droop. So I'm picking up the third fret there, but where our A string is muted, all of the rest of our strings are muted. And then we're going to put our second finger onto the third fret of the second string, and our third finger onto the fourth fret of the D string, and our fourth finger on the fourth fret of the G string. So when we strum, it sounds like this, but we're getting the low E, A is muted, we're getting the D and the G strings, the B string, and the high E is also muted. So that's G major 7. And then we're going to come up and we're going to do this E9. So what we've got here is we're on the 7th fret of the A string with my second finger, and the 6th fret of the D string with my first finger, 7th fret of the G string with my third finger, and the 7th fret of the B string with my fourth finger. So that's E9. And then we're going to do A minor 7. So there's a couple of ways that we can do this A minor 7 chord. We can do it like this, but to really kind of give it the jazz sound, we want it to be like this. So what I'm doing here is I'm actually just fretting the 5th fret of the low E, the D, the G, and the B strings, and the A and the E, high E are both muted. So there's a couple of ways that you can actually do it this way. The way I like to do it is I use my first finger on the low E, my second finger on the D, my third on the G, and my fourth on the B string. So they're just all jammed together like this into one fret. Some people will do it like this, where they'll bar with their third finger across the D, G, and B strings, and then use their second finger to pick up the low E, and that will in turn will mute the high E and the A string. So whichever way is more comfortable for you. I've always done it this way, and it's just, I have a muscle memory for it, so I'm just going to stick with that. Then we're going to go to our 5 chord, which is rooted off of D, and we're going to do a D9. So it's the same shape that we did up here for E9. We're just going to do it a whole step flat. So your second finger will be on the 5th fret, your second, third, and fourth fingers will be on the 5th fret, and your first finger will be on the 4th. So now we get this nice it's got kind of more of a jazz sound to it than, like, you know, a rock or pop sound like we had with these, with the other, just with the 3-note chords, with the major and minor chords. So you can take this idea with other chord progressions and just do the same thing. Substitute out the major and minors for some more, you know, exotic chords. So like I said, that video that where I go over like the chord scales, basically, you know, all of the chords that are in, they're rooted off of these, out of the major scale, then you know what all these chords are. So like I said, this is a 1-6-2-5 chord progression. So if we take the G major scale, we start here on the 3rd fret of the low E, which is G. There's all your root notes right there. So your 1 chord is on the 3rd fret, your 2 chord is on the 5th fret, your 3 chord is on the 7th fret, all in the low E. And then we go up to the A string, your 4 chord is on the 3rd fret, your 5 chord is on the 5th fret, your 6 chord is on the 7th fret, and then your 7 chord, if we're just playing the scale, we end up here on the 4th fret of the D string, but you could also, just for the sake of being able to have chord voicings, you know, being able to do the bar chord shapes, you know, rooted off the 6th and the 5th string, we can move up here to the 9th fret. So again, G major 7, E9, A minor 7, and D9. So I hope you enjoyed that and you got something out of that. If you like the lesson, be sure to give me a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below if there's something you'd like to see covered either by myself or one of the other instructors at guitarcontrol.com in a future lesson. All right, that is all I've got for you today. Thanks for watching and have a great day.